Hello and welcome. Oh, wait, shoot. God, I'm an idiot.
Yes, we know.
I agree.
All right, that was horrible. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Quit Acting Stupid. I'm your host, Jamie Paredes, and joining me, as always, are my brothers, Bobby and Rudy. Say hello, boys.
Hello.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
All right.
As always, we are brought to you by The Farmhouse at 3rd and Delaware. I just realized I didn't present that properly. Hold on.
No, here we go.
That works. That works. Brought to you by The Farmhouse. Go down to 3rd and Delaware in the historic River Market area and go see our cousin Vince Paredes, Chef Vince. Tell him those morons on the stupid podcast told you to come down here. Ooh, that looks fire.
Look at that.
Anytime you're downtown at a concert or, make sure they're open first. But yeah, take the streetcar to River Market West. Get off on River Market West. It'll drop you off right in front of the farmhouse. Delicioso food.
So good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited because we have a very special guest, as you can see from the scroll down at the bottom. John Bailey, a former classmate. Let me bring him on. Hey, John, how's it going?
Gentlemen, good evening.
John Bailey, former
Yeah.
Holy Cross Crusader.
Former Crusader.
Former Northeast. Yes. Former Northeast Kansas City resident and all-around good guy.
In fact, John, one of the coolest things was you used to live directly next door to Eli Pena.
I did.
It was 2 houses down, wasn't it?
It was two houses. Yeah, he was 2 houses south. And man, we had some great summers playing like dodgeball and basketball and everything else. It was a great block.
Yeah, the Penas. You guys, that was North
Lawn.
North Lawn, yeah.
Because my buddy David Castro lived on South Lawn.
Yeah, on the was it other side of St. John or other side of Independence Avenue? I can't remember where it's like.
St. John.
Yeah. No, I love that. Was a fantastic block, and all the Penas living 2 doors down. I think at one point we counted all the kids on the street, and there was like 18 kids that lived on like one city block. It was awesome.
And 16 of them were Penas.
Pretty close.
Julie, let's see. Can we name them all? Joe Mike. I'm starting youngest. Joe Mike, Stacy, Melanie, Julie, Eli, Monique, Cindy.
You got it.
Yes.
No, that's it.
Yes,
So you got everybody.
You get them all? Wow, I'm impressed. I thought for sure you'd forget one.
Nope, got them all. Love the Penas.
Yeah, no, they were great neighbors. It was a great block.
Yeah. No, John is now
Hold on. Let's not go there yet. Let's So tell us what it was like growing up. What were your memories of Northeast and growing up and going to Holy Cross and just some of that stuff?
Honestly, it's nothing but fond memories. I mean, I think you guys probably feel the same way I do, which is we had this little moment in time, and Northeast is still great, but it's different than it was. We had this little moment in time where I don't know. My dad's from New York, and he always had kind of a unique upbringing in just outside of New York City, and maybe that's why we lived there. Maybe it felt like a New York neighborhood to him. But playing in the streets, open up fire hydrants, having block parties, having a block with 18 plus kids on it, playing step ball up against the steps. I mean, it was just to me as a kid, it was like a little slice of paradise. And I try to recapture that for my kids, but I don't know. I mean, times are different. Their childhoods are great, I hope, but I thought was a great school. I still think it's a great school. Growing up in Northeast was nothing but good memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So I already learned one thing. I didn't realize your dad was from New York.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Did we lose you?
I think we lost him.
You there?
Yeah. He's born and raised on Long Island.
Wow. Okay. So then what brought him to Kansas City?
Hello.
Oh, did you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're having a little issue. Can you hear us?
Just a little lag.
No, he's not
I
hearing
can
us
hear
at all,
everybody.
man.
Rudy blinked out for a second, but I can hear everybody.
Okay. Did you?
Okay,
Can
so
you guys hear me? Yeah, we got you, John. Can you guys get me?
I see you, Rudy.
So I think the question was, if you can hear us, what brought why did your dad want to come to Kansas City, or what brought him here?
Yeah, it's military. So his
Oh,
brother
he's a
was
military
stationed,
guy.
I think, in well, he actually got a medical discharge. He broke his wrist right before he was going to ship off to Vietnam. Lucky me. And
Wow.
but his brother did go to Vietnam, was stationed in, I think it was Fort Scott, maybe Fort Riley, I don't know, one of them. So dad follows him out, and actually my mom is from Durango, Colorado, and same thing. Her brother was in the Air Force and came to Knob Noster, which is where the B-2 bombers are now. And yeah, so they stayed. I mean, this is kind of what happened in Kansas City. You know, people come here and then they just kind of stick.
Yeah.
So your parents met through like the military basically brought them both into the same area.
Yeah, into the Kansas City area. Gosh, I don't remember. There's some story about who introduced them. It wasn't their siblings. But yeah, I mean, essentially it was military and the Vietnam era and all of that.
Right.
And actually, I guess it would have been a little bit after that, but not much. But yeah, it's they ended up here, and neither of them ever left.
Pretty
Right.
cool.
And so you were born here. Now you, if I
Yeah, I
remember
was
right,
born here.
you came to Holy Cross. What you weren't here in kindergarten. You didn't go there in
I
kindergarten,
was.
right?
I was an AM kid. Yeah. Were you AM or
Oh my
PM?
gosh. Okay. That's right. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can tell you.
We were all
Go
AM, weren't we?
Were you AM?
Yeah.
we were
I know I sat next to Joey Costello
Yes.
and I think maybe Ross Jamaica.
Okay. Yeah. He was in
And
our
I don't know
class.
who else.
Wow, you remember who you
And
sat
Mrs.
next to?
Mazeppi was the best, but
Yeah.
Oh, man,
No argument. No argument there.
How were you on BB? Did you were you able to walk
Do you remember
across?
BB?
Did we,
Oh.
You don't remember BB, the little board that we would
Balance beam.
balance
BB.
on, and we'd have to walk across?
in kindergarten?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
kindergarten. You remember who you sat next to? And yeah, it was a little wooden beam, and we would all take turns walking across it just to practice balance, I guess. I
I
don't
don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason it was
Man,
BB was because it was a
seems like
balance
something I'd
beam.
really like too.
Yeah.
Maybe you struggled at it, and that's why you blocked it out.
Blocked it out.
Maybe-
You fell off one
You're like,
time.
get him off of that. He's gonna hurt himself.
Yeah, maybe you fell off and it was an embarrassing moment that you just blocked, and now we're ripping
They
this
probably did
off.
away with it forever. Well, no, because you had it, Rudy.
Right.
That, and then she would
They
have
brought
her,
it back for you.
her Bible stories with the records. Remember, she used to play records, and she had the Bible story books, and we'd sit around. And you guys remember those at all?
Vaguely. Did the records went with the
Yeah,
story?
Vaguely,
Yeah.
the records are bouncing around in there.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome. But you okay? So I remember we played basketball. So you were there at Holy Cross till at least 5th grade, right? When did you end up? How long were you there?
7th through 7th.
7th grade.
wow.
So you
K through 7. Yeah.
Why was I thinking you left? Or I guess
Yeah,
maybe
and
the time
so we
just seems
moved-
like it's been so long. So you went
No,
to
I
7th
know.
grade
I know. It kind of turns.
at Holy Cross.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Through 7th grade, and honestly, I wish I'd have stayed through 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
moved
what
up
happened?
north.
You were there
Went to
through
Eastgate
7th.
Middle School for 1 year.
Eastgate. That's in Gladstone, right?
Right. Right.
So
right.
did your parents
There through
move at that
7th,
time?
leave for 8th grade. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Both of them at that point they were divorced. Dad lived up north already. Mom moved up north, so we moved away from 412 North Lawn, and then moved up by like Inglewood Road and North Oak. Went to Eastgate for 1 year. Like I said, I would have rather had stayed at Holy Cross for my 8th grade year rather than going to this other middle school for a single year, which I mean, 8th grade is tough anyway. Then being the new kid
Right.
is even tougher.
Oh,
Then I went to Northtown, and Northtown was great. Yeah, it sucked.
That's awesome.
I mean, the 1 year at Eastgate, not fond memories.
I knew some people at Northtown. I'm trying to think. I hung out at Northtown. My girlfriend went to Northtown in high school, and actually, my oldest daughter's mom went to Northtown. So,
Who was it?
Lisa Bray.
Oh, you got to
remember that?
Northtown.
Yeah, I was out there all the time.
Who?
Lisa Bray. Do you remember her? That name?
I'm sure it's probably a pretty big
I don't,
school.
but I got my yearbooks right there.
I'm
Go
sure
through it now.
Yeah,
So
so
wait-
I was up at Northtown a lot.
Yeah, I can look them up if need be. I don't remember her.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm trying to think, going back
Yeah,
to
there's a lot of parties that happen in Northtown. That's for sure.
I was
Rudy
at,
wasn't
I was at
invited to those.
no, I was at a lot of those parties actually. I went to Northtown homecomings. I was there.
I mean, we were probably at the same parties.
Probably, John.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. One
you say you
speaking
would-
of
I didn't
parties,
even know it.
one thing I remember back from North Lawn was, didn't you have like a Halloween party one year, I think? And maybe it might have even been a sleepover, but for some reason in my head, I have this vivid memory of being at your house. It was like a sleepover, and you guys had gotten into like John Owen's backpack and pulled his underwear out and were like running around the house with it or something. For some reason, it's stuck in my head.
That sounds like that. Yeah, that probably happened. I mean, I don't know what grade do you think that was? Like 4th grade or something?
It would have had to have been. It would have had to have been like 4th or 5th or so, maybe. I don't. Yeah.
Ever since then, Jamie's had a love for boys' underwear.
I mean, some things never change,
Yeah. No, but yeah, I think I remember you had a sleepover or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just kind of what I've conjured up in my head.
No, that sounds right. I don't recall the night, but that sounds right. I mean,
So
the Halloweens in Northeast, I thought were great.
Oh, Van
They were
Brunt,
crazy, weren't they?
amazing. Van Brunt was amazing.
Yeah. Where were you? Go ahead, Bob.
I was just going to ask.
Exactly. The half
I
sticks
think I
of
might have
dynamite.
missed this. No,
The half stick of the dynamite. Yeah. Yeah.
Stick dynamite.
did you enjoy your time at Northtown?
No, that's what I
think you
fell
said you
asleep
did.
Northtown was good. Northtown was very good. It was a completely different experience than Holy Cross. Holy Cross was a pretty small school, and I always felt like it was a pretty tight community. And in Northtown, I mean, it was it's a big public school, and I certainly still have a lot of great friends from North Kansas City. But it was, public high school is very different than little Catholic private school in Northeast. But I don't know. I mean, it's a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
As Rudy said, good parties.
Parties.
So where did life take you after high school?
Yeah, after high school was William Jewell. So probably not far from your house, Jamie, right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever make it over to campus, but again, like, I've got Northeast and I've got Holy Cross, and that's one environment. Then I go to Northtown, which is a completely different environment. Then I go to William Jewell, which is different from both of them. And I don't know, maybe those are the lessons in life, is just, be flexible and be ready to jump into different environments. But William Jewell is, it's a small, at the time it had a Baptist affiliation, and I think 1,200 kids. So it was smaller than my high school. And, there's a lot of kids from like farm towns and from like rural areas, and, kids from Overland Park. And I don't think I had ever really met a kid from Overland Park, even at that point, until I get to college. And, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where each of you guys went, but ultimately, I mean, Jewell, the beauty of Jewell is you go to class and you've got, maybe anywhere from 7 kids in there to maybe on the upper side of 21, 22, usually smaller. And so you're sitting there with, I mean, there's no TAs. It's all professors, and your advisor is a professor. your career counselor is a professor. You're going to dinners with professors. The fraternity advisors are professors, and it's just this tight community. And I think Jules doing well now, but I mean, it's still shocking to me that there's not, that there's only 1,000 to 1,200 kids there, because in the Kansas City area, anyone who's looking for anything even remotely close to that, I definitely recommend it for them.
Good.
That's my plug for him, Jewel.
What did you end up majoring in?
Yeah, so I started out in what was going to be the 3-2 program, which was like physical therapy. That was going to be like 3 years at Jewel and 2 years at Washington University, and then realized if you get into that, and I mean, I guess I'm looking at it and going, well, I could basically put the time in to become a doctor, but physical therapist is like, you put in all the work, but it's not quite a doctor. I mean, it is a doctor. Right. I shouldn't, speak poorly on physical therapy. It's a great profession. I wanted to do it. But for the amount of effort, it's like, well, people go to med school for this. So then I turned to psychology. Psychology was tough because no concrete concepts. It's all kind of by the person, by the moment. So then I went for a completely concrete subject, which is business, with economics and information technology. And, that was helpful. It worked out.
That's good. Yeah, my daughter actually has shown a little bit of interest in physical therapy. Actually, there's a lot of schooling that goes into it, and I don't know where she's at there right now. She just finished. Yeah. And so she just finished her second year at Johnson County Community College. Just got accepted into UMKC for I don't know what. I'm a little out of the loop. I got to get caught up with her. I haven't seen her in a bit, but yeah, no, that's something that she's
just your daughter. No worries.
Yeah. I
pay attention to
I got 2 other ones. So I got 2 other daughters. So,
have you?
I know there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Have you run into many people from Northeast or from Holy Cross? I mean, other than the present company, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean, two of the present company.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I see a few guys. I know. I mean, Rudy, I wish you were in the present company, but hey, now we're all reconnected.
Now we're buddies, and my kids are going to be ecstatic, and we'll tell you why here in a second. But
we're getting to it.
But do you run into anybody from Northeast?
So who do you run into?
No, I do. I spend a pretty good amount of time with Pete Cerrone. Pete is at US Foods, and we talk pretty frequently. And then let's see, Mike Bondi, Mike and my kids, they're buddies. We're buddies. We see each other fairly often, although as the kids get older, it gets tougher. And then let's see, I see John Owen. Rockers, right? I mean, I feel like I see John Owen like every. What's that?
I was just saying, his kids go. Mike's kids go to Rockers, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's kids do, and Owen has a son that's a freshman this year as well. And John. I feel like I just saw John this weekend. We were at the soccer fields, and I feel like every 8th time I'm out somewhere, I see John Owen out. So we just end up kind of in the same circles. It seems like. I think I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Oh, after I watched Anthony's video, I remembered that Vito had come into we have a Longboards location. We had one in Kemper Arena, and Vito came in, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It was good to see him. He's tall now, and he got really tall. He's always a little kid when I knew him.
Yeah.
Yes, he's huge. Yeah. He's huge. I ran into John as well down at the downtown airport, and we talked for a little bit. Doesn't seem like he's changed much. Good guy. I'd like to get him on the show here eventually. But so wait, how did you guys connect? Because when I heard the John Bailey name just came, and how did you guys meet up?
I think, if I remember right, I think I might have reached out to you through LinkedIn after hearing, I want to say I heard a podcast between you and another gentleman where you kind of went through your whole story about how you, and I think for our listeners, I think it'd probably be worth hearing about how you kind of went through, because I believe you worked at H&R Block at one point, if I'm not mistaken, or you worked some sort of corporate job like that, and then kind of gravitated. And so, yeah, I think after that, I kind of reached out to you and just chatted about whatever was going on at the time. I think it was around COVID or something. But yeah, no, that's kind of how I was like, oh man, because yeah, I think was it a podcast? Does that sound right? Am I kind of vaguely on the right track?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think that's right. Maybe the one I did with Andy Kavanaugh. I don't know if you know Andy or if you cross paths with Andy, but he and I
but
did.
The name sounds familiar.
Okay, and I think he posted it on LinkedIn, so maybe it made the rounds somehow. But yeah, you reached out, and I think you guys were considering something together as three brothers. But
Right.
and I'm curious to hear if anything ever came of that. But I remember we had a few good conversations, just about kind of how I got to this point and what that looks like and what it takes. And yeah, no, did you guys ever pursue anything?
This is it.
We started looking at options, and yeah, I mean, I think eventually migrated into what you see before you now. I mean, we wanted to do something together, but
well, we got really close a couple times with the 9 round and with
no, it was title boxing.
Was it
title? It was title boxing. We looked at doing coffee.
We got close. We got really close in coffee, but
we looked at some trash thing, or it was like a junk removal service.
Yeah.
But
and
then we all realized
landed on this.
the only one that doesn't make any money.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. There's no money involved.
That's
but it also doesn't cost much money.
Right. It was our basically
you guys
we
are building
just
a brand.
basically work with our mouths. What's that? What was that?
You guys are building a brand.
Yeah. What were you saying about working with your mouth, Jamie?
I know that sounded terrible. But no, yeah, this was kind of really our only talent is just blabbing to other people. To people who don't really care what we have to say anyway.
But then John and I ran into each other at
I think that's that's my job. Yeah, at the auction.
Each other at Rockhurst. And,
okay, so you have kids at Rockhurst then, correct?
Yeah, 2 boys.
Okay.
Yeah, so tell us about. I mean, we've talked, and the 3 of us went to Rockhurst. We were all at Rockhurst at the same time. Can you kind of give us an idea of maybe what you think of the school at being somebody who didn't go there and is kind of experiencing it just from the parent side, and kind of what your sons have kind of relayed to you about their experiences there, especially because you now you went to Holy Cross, which was a Catholic school, and I believe you are not Catholic, right? So yeah, so I'm kind of curious, just kind of the whole thinking of this is where I want my boys to go and that type of thing.
Yeah, I think I think the first thing is had we not moved, I probably would have gone to Rockhurst. And for me, and even with my boys, I mean, the fact that we're Protestant and it's a Jesuit school, I never really felt much of a difference at Holy Cross. I mean, maybe, I didn't go up and take communion with you guys, and I didn't go to confession and a few things like that. But generally speaking, anytime we're in, Bible class, I'm pretty much up to speed with everything that was, going on. And my boys went to St. Paul's for grade school. And so St. Paul's is Episcopal, which is the Protestant Catholic. And so, same thing for them. And there's a lot of boys that come from St. Paul's. There's a lot of boys that come from public schools. So there's actually, I think a pretty decent population that's not Jesuit or Catholic. And that side of it, it's not, the boys talk about going to mass, and it's a little bit different, and they make the sign of the cross before they pray now. But other than that, it's that's not much of a leap. The other part of it is, obviously it's an all boys school, and they came from a co-ed school, and you guys all came from a co-ed school. And so, that was one thing, they had to adjust a little bit, but really coming in as freshmen, they thought it was awesome. They look at it and like, look at all these great guys, look at all these new potential friends that I'm going to meet. And, an interesting thing happened is, they had friend groups from their grade school from the 8th grade. and they got to Rockhurst and they play soccer and they get involved in clubs and things like that. And they, 3 months in, maybe less, you ask them how their friends are doing, and they've, kind of lost track of their other friend group, and they've got this whole new friend group, and you don't know any of them. You don't know their parents, and maybe we know a few kids from visitation, but all in all, I mean, Jude's a freshman, and it's still pretty fresh for him. I guess he's almost done with his freshman year. But Hudson, having gone through 4 years, that's certainly, I think the Men for Others was there when you guys were probably there.
Yeah.
But that's
Got it on
still
my-
going strong, and boys.
My wrist.
AMDG.
Oh,
Is that
nice.
what-
Yeah, nice.
Men for Others wristband.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, they still practice it, man. And the St. Paul's, where they went, has a strong community and strong belief system, and Rockhurst has that as well. And you put those together for us, and it's been great. And we obviously try to reinforce and teach our kids those kinds of lessons at home. So you look at it and you go, well, you're getting it from school, you're getting it from home, you're getting it from your friend groups, and it's great. The other thing too is Hudson's going to KU in the fall, and he took, just a ton of AP classes. He took a bunch of honors classes I didn't at Northtown. I think I took like one college biology class, and I think I dropped it maybe not even halfway through. And here he is, like, taking AP Spanish and AP physics and honors this and honors that. And I'm just impressed with, they just kind of normalize this kind of achievement for the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there was a
fantastic.
lot of competition, I think. Like in turn, like I don't know, how would you explain it, Bob? There's a lot of you didn't even the guys that were like your class clowns or whatever, like they were smart too. And it was like, man, I don't want to be that guy that looks like an idiot, really. And so it was kind of that fear.
Yeah.
I was dumb and I went there. So
Well, somebody had to be in the bottom half of the class, but
disprove the point.
That's how percentage.
but no, that you're right. It's a lot of high achievers, and when you get high achievers, especially with the testosterone kicking in, and everybody just not in a bad way, but just very much trying to compete against one another, and just challenge each other to do better. I mean, that's what it the environment it creates, and yeah, it's really.
And I think what you said, John, really hit home when you said, because I know I went with several classmates from Holy Cross to Rockhurst, and just like you said, you're there after a couple months, one gets involved in soccer, one gets involved in football, and then your group, that you're surrounding yourself with completely changes, but you're still, you're cool with everybody, really. It's
they're always there.
Right. You had your group of soccer players, your group of football players, whatever. But everybody
Cool
was
kids. You have your cool kids, and then you have your like football guys and soccer guys, and then the nerds, and then the Mexicans are in the corner. Yeah,
yeah. It was very very segregated, but not. It was very
for sure.
It was easy. It was pretty easy, I think, to come and go between various groups. I hung out with some guys during lunch. After school, I was with the football guys. It was just, it was a brotherhood, and you didn't even realize it. While you're going through it. So.
Yeah, I was real adamant about not going there. I didn't want to go there. There were no girls. All my friends were going to St. Mary's or St. Pius. And, my mom was like, try it out. Your brothers are there. Give me 1 year there and we'll see where we go. So I went there freshman year and I just thought, I hate this. It's terrible. And I'll never forget, I went and shadowed David Castro at St. Mary's. And I walked around the halls there at St. Mary's and just thought, man, this is just like Holy Cross. Like it seemed like a grade school. Like it didn't seem like high school at all. It was a lot fewer people.
Yeah.
And the same people that I did, that I went to Holy Cross with. And so I finished my freshman year at Rockhurst. And like you said, something just happens and it just it connects and it felt right. And then from there on, sophomore, junior, senior year were great. I loved it there. So Rockers is a great place for sure.
I'm glad to hear your boys enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And, to that a little bit, Rudy, is that, there's always something going on there. Whether it's competing in sports or now they've got, even like robotics, and there's tons of clubs. This year, Hudson, my oldest, started the pickleball club. Pickleball is a thing now. He and I play, but he had an opportunity to, put together funding and recruit and put on events. Awesome. And it's
my senior year, we had just started lacrosse, and it wasn't a team yet. It was a club because all the high school teams were in St. Louis. There were no high school teams in Kansas City. So it was a club my senior year. Yeah. I wanted to get involved. It was really expensive. There's a lot of equipment that goes along with lacrosse. But they would travel, I think, almost every weekend to St. Louis just to I don't think they were an actual team yet. It was just a club. And then I think now they have a full-on team and stuff there. So
a very good team.
It's in fact, the guys put on the news. There's like
they're very good.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an amazing kid there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some kid that's like setting scoring records for the state or the country or something. Lacrosse is very good. Yeah. Is it a Misha sport?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Do you guys know?
I know they played some schools on the East Coast. So, some of their losses this year, my son was telling me, were to schools in Maryland and, along the East Coast. So, but I don't know if it's a Misha sanctioned sport or league.
Misha, find out.
Volleyball just went Misha this year for boys.
No, Misha doesn't go there. Misha doesn't go there anymore. Well, guys,
all right, so let's jump. Let's
figure this out because my stuff's getting cold. Bro.
So we have a surprise for John. I don't know if he knows, or maybe it's not a surprise.
It's not really a surprise for John because he's not eating it.
That looks familiar. That looks familiar.
How come I got the rat?
That looks familiar.
So that's because you got yours cold, buddy.
Jamie, you went with the cold rat.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And I will say,
John,
the hot rat. That's where it's at.
I will say, I went to the original location on North Oak. That's right by my house. And the girl at the register, extremely nice. Like asking me how my day was. Like I didn't need that, but she was very, very nice. I almost asked her for her name to say, hey, do you know John Bailey? Because we're gonna do a podcast with him later, and I'm gonna give him your name. You were outstanding.
Was it today?
But, it was today. North Oak.
What time was that, Rudy?
6 o'clock.
Like early?
Yeah, it was busy.
Okay.
But yeah, about 6 o'clock. Oh, he's got the schedule.
I know. And the thing is, you say that, but the guy who
I got it right here. Let's see who it might be.
Who was it?
Either Kat or Ashley.
I bet they were both working. One of them took my order. One of them gave me my wrap.
It might have been Kat. Kat's nice.
It's funny you say that because the guy that I ordered from in Liberty did the same thing. He asked me how my day was. I was like, oh, he caught me off guard. I was like, I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to order. I wasn't used to it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and make it 3 for 3.
Hey, and don't mind the fact that it's like already half gone because I got a little hungry earlier.
My dog.
Yeah.
My dog is sitting here. My dog has been sitting here waiting for me to open this wrap.
So I went to the one in Mission, and it was probably about 7 o'clock. And I clearly, this was, I'll admit, this was my first time visiting, and they could tell. And the 3 people that were there all did a very good job of making sure that my questions were answered. So,
so your mission location is pretty solid. That's where me and my buddies that's where I was introduced to it. I used to work at Waddell and Reed off of Lamar and Shawnee Mission Parkway.
Oh
And
yeah,
so we
super close.
yeah, we hit that longboards all the time. And still me and my buddy Brian Gully, Matt Goldsich, Jay, we go down there after concerts or whatever. Hey, let's stop at Longboards, because we'll go drink at Sully's, and then we'll cross the street and get ourselves a Longboards to soak up some of that alcohol and then head back over. So yeah, I've been going to Longboards for a very long time.
Yeah,
When I told my kids, I told my daughters that we were going to have the guy from Longboards on here, and they're like, "What? You know the guy from Longboards?" I'm like, "Well, I knew him like 38 years ago, but yeah, he's we grew up with him, so they're pretty excited." And I'm a Cabo beef guy, Cabo steak, but my oldest daughter Miranda said, "No, you got to go Cabo chicken." So this is my first time with Cabo chicken. So yeah.
I wanted something really hot, and so I asked for
Cabo's. I mean, it's the way to go. It's so. I mean, I'm biased, but I'm a fan. I eat a lot of Cabo chickens. I mean, what we need to do, like next time you guys go there, I mean, like Bobby, work your way through the menu, get to know things. But once you get to a point where you've had everything like 3 times, let me know, and we'll start going off menu.
Oh, off menu, huh?
So I did read an article once. Didn't you guys have like a wrap? Didn't you guys have like a wrap that was like a Mac Miller wrap, maybe, or what was it?
Mac
It had
Lethal,
like
Casey guy.
Mac Lethal, and it had like Dorito dust in it or something.
Yeah.
Like it sounded dope. By the time I got there, you guys didn't have it, or maybe it was
mac
something
and
I could have
cheese.
asked for. Yeah, it had mac and cheese in it.
I'm always down with any mac and cheese.
It's like this big. Yeah, no, it's brisket.
Nice.
It's mac and cheese. It's crushed Doritos. It's a special that we run, and we bring it out like, I don't know, once every 3 months, and it hits every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that next time you guys have it out.
So I got the 5-alarm beef, and I asked them to give me the hottest sauce they had, and so they gave me some Chinese something or other. Yeah, I love hot. No, it's hot. It's got some kick to it. Yeah, no, I love it.
Huh?
I'm not a hot guy.
Yeah, good. Good.
John,
every now and then we come across this person who's just.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say, we come across someone every now and then who just has no taste buds left, and they go, "Oh, that's not hot." I'm like, "That's not true. It most certainly is hot."
So while we're stuffing our face, why don't you go ahead and tell us, how did you get involved? I think Gilbert was it his creation, and how did you meet Gilbert, and how did this all come about?
His creation. Yeah, no, that's it goes back to North Kansas City High School, and so as I'm a freshman, I'm on the track team. Gilbert's younger brother Glenn, who is a year older than me, he was also on the track team. So I meet him pretty early on in high school. We're fast friends. Glenn and Gilbert are both originally from the Philippines. And so, they're just funny guys with a ton of charisma and just a ton of fun to be around. And so as I start hanging out with Glenn more, and Glenn became one of my really good friends and still is, he introduces me to Gilbert, and Gilbert's probably, 6 or 7 years older than me. So at the time when I'm 15, he, might as well have been 45. He was in his 20s, and we all thought he was the coolest. And he had Details magazine in his apartment that had no furniture on the plaza. And, we were all just convinced he was the coolest. But we hung out throughout high school. Glenn and I stayed connected. And so Glenn goes off to the military. Gilbert early on is working in warehouses. I go to college. Out of college, I work at Accenture. Actually, it was Anderson Consulting at the time, and it changed to Accenture, and went this like very corporate path. Went to Sprint, went to H&R Block. And so in the meantime, Gilbert, he goes and he works even to this day. Every time the conversation comes up, he mentions a new restaurant that he worked at. He must have worked at 50 different restaurants, but it was like JJ's and the Classic Cup and the Fedora. And I mean, LeFou Frog. And so he just starts literally out, I think, as a dishwasher and works his way up to, I mean, basically a chef, and learns how to make amazing food. And the truth is, he already had a talent for it. So you take his personality, which is he's pretty he has a pretty unique personality. I mean, he's a creative type who's just like, his mind is always turning, and he's just burning through ideas. And and you combine that with his ability to cook, and he had a stopover at Cerner. And so while he's at Cerner, he's at the international station. He's married with a kid at this point, and he starts making these grilled wraps. And the people at Cerner are like, "You got to get out of this corporate kitchen and go start a restaurant." And he listens to him, and he does it. And he basically spends every dollar to his name plus his family's over the course of, opens a restaurant, has a strong Cerner following. And then over the next 2 or 3 years, he's making money, but he's not, I should say he's making revenue, but he's not making money. And so he eventually loses his house and pretty much loses everything, but he sticks with it. And his hospitality and the food just kept people coming back. And so finally, in this time, I'm going to the store, and in the first year, and I'm going, "Man, Gilbert, this is absolutely fantastic. You got something here." And keep in mind, this is 2004, and in 2004, I think Chipotle existed, but besides that, none of this other fast casual stuff was going on. And burritos as a dinner, a fast casual on the go dinner, wasn't even really a thing. I mean, you've got Chipotle, who kind of was a trailblazer, and then you've got, of course, traditional Mexican restaurants, which serve it on a plate with a knife and fork. And then you've got Taco Bell. And I mean, there might've been some others out there, but there wasn't much on the horizon. And so he tapped into something pretty quick, kind of understanding the flavors they wanted, how they wanted to eat it, the price point they're willing to pay. And I mean, even to be fair on that, I mean, the prices that he charged for years and years and years, I mean, he was, like I said, he was losing money, just to build this restaurant. And so, time goes by, and he builds this incredibly loyal following. He's at North Oak. That's the first one. And he, I don't know, I think his goal was 25 wraps a day. And then it turned into 50 wraps a day, and then 75. And then eventually he's got that single space, and he's bursting at the seams. In the meantime, I'm at H&R Block. I'm doing my MBA at UMKC. I know that I went out of the corporate world. I've acquired some skills on my side. I've worked with franchisees, but I'm just done with the corporate life. And I know that I want to be in my own business. I don't know what it is. So I start pursuing various things, start another business, and it's kind of fun, but it's very much a startup. But Gilbert and I get to talk, and his mom actually cut my hair for 10 or 15 years. And as she cuts my, each time I'm getting a haircut, she's like, "You need to call Gilbert. You need to find out what Gilbert's up to, and he needs to hear what you're up to." So eventually, after I get my haircut, she just picks up the phone and makes a call and conferences us in. And she goes, "John, tell Gilbert your idea." And this is 2011. "Tell Gilbert your idea on using Twitter and a food truck and tweeting out, where you're at." Of course, now that's been done. You guys see that in movies. I think it's been in multiple movies, but back then it was pretty novel. So he and I kick around these ideas, and, turns out for the money, it's better to open up a brick and mortar, because food trucks are really hard to operate. But we opened Liberty in 2012, and I kept working my day job for a while, because we weren't making money necessarily. I mean, we're on the path to it, but it takes a while to break even. And so, as we're getting close to breaking even, at that point, we look at it and we go, Gilbert's telling me I need to quit my day job, which is tough, because that's where the insurance is, and that's where the steady paycheck is, and that's where my comfort zone was. You guys know. But
Yep.
I had to make the leap at some point. I made the leap. It's a leap of faith. I had to trust that it was going to work, and it's working.
That's awesome, man. So you started with North Oak. Was Liberty or Mission your next one?
No, you started Liberty, right?
No, North
So
Oak.
North one.
Oh,
Liberty. Yeah, Liberty was number 2. Liberty was my first, but second one.
oh,
Okay. Okay. I got you. And then you went to Mission.
Yeah. 2014 was Mission. 2016 was Lee Summit.
Okay. There's one in Lee Summit. Okay. So do you guys have any plans on maybe expanding out towards Kansas, or what is your guys' future looking like?
Yeah, it's so we've got to do a better job with marketing because we have 3 in Kansas. And so
Well, the one in Mission
one is in
and the
Mission,
one in Oak
as
Park.
you know.
Sure.
The second one, yeah, 95th in Antioch, which is probably the closest one to you, Bobby,
Yeah, I think so.
I think. And then we've got a third one coming up at 135th and 69 Highway. That one's under construction, and I'm excited for it because that's like, I mean, you guys probably go out there for the kids' sports and things like that. It's nuts out there.
That's
We
where
were
my
just out
kids
there.
live. My kids go to Blue Valley Northwest, and they
Yeah,
love
just down the
longboarding.
street.
They'll be
Hey,
excited to
you
hear
know
about
what?
that.
Do they want a job? Do they want free food? We're getting ready to advertise in Blue Valley Northwest newspaper, man. Do they want t-shirts? What can I do? Stickers for their cars?
You had him at free food.
Yes to all of it. I'm sure if Parker's watching, if Manny's watching, I'm
Hey,
sure
they ain't watching this.
I know they're not watching. But wow. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sure they would be interested. That's awesome, man.
Now-
So the restaurant, when you walk in, I mean, in the locations I've been to Liberty, I've been to Mission, I've been to North Oak, the surfboards, there's not a huge surfboard culture here in Kansas City, and Kansas Cityans aren't great at like accepting new things. We like our stuff the way we like it. Like Kauffman Stadium is so beautiful, and
That's for
so
real. Yeah.
Kansas Cityans don't like
Gonna be there
change,
forever, right?
Right. So I'm sure it was kind of a leap, like a hurdle to get over, to get people to understand that it's not Chipotle, but you got to try it, and it's amazing, I think. So yeah.
Where did the idea of like using the
Yeah,
longboards?
we've got that hurdle a lot for sure.
Go ahead, say that again.
So Gilbert has 3 brothers. Sorry, what was it?
No,
What
go
did
ahead.
you hear? I've got a little delay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, on our end too,
Okay.
but that's fine.
Gilbert's got
No,
3
just-
brothers. Glenn.
Go ahead.
Okay. You go, Bob.
I was just gonna say, where did the idea for like longboards come from? Like the whole theme, like the island, surfboard. Rudy was talking about a minute ago.
Yeah. Yep. Gilbert has 3 brothers, Glenn, who I mentioned, and then he has 2 younger brothers, Jonathan and Joshua. And so they've all worked at the restaurant. I mean, Glenn actually, back and lived in my house for like 9 months in 2022. Worked at Longboards. I mean, that's just kind of how this thing goes. But Jonathan, same thing. Jonathan worked at the source for a long time. So Jonathan was the one that looked at that wrap with the grill marks on it and said it looked like a longboard. And so Gilbert's, Gilbert's kind of an island guy anyway. I mean, he's from the Philippines. He's,
Right.
it's his style, it's his mindset. And, he's lived in San Diego. A lot of this came from San Diego. He's lived in Hawaii. And he just brought all these things with him. And you know what? Like, yeah, dude, those wraps. I mean, the colors, the loud colors. I mean, everything in there is just his personality, just like physically represented.
Did Gilbert or his brothers, did they ever surf when they lived in Hawaii and stuff like that? Were they surfers?
Philippines.
You know what?
Or
They've all tried it, but I don't think they're very good at it.
the creator of
Yeah.
Longboards is not a good surfer.
It's funny
No.
because Josh.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly not a requirement. His younger brother, Joshua, I mean, Joshua doesn't work for us currently, but I'm sure he will again. But when he comes to work, he brings a longboard skateboard with him. He's got this long stick that he uses it kind of like a paddleboard, except it's in the parking lot. And you'll drive by at 8:30 a.m. and Joshua will be out there doing figure eights in the parking lot.
Nice.
That's the environment.
Now,
Yeah.
I have to take a
Now,
break here. I have to take a break here and say, all right. I usually tell people, oh yeah, that's hot, but it really wasn't that hot. Now I've taken several bites now of your 5-alarm beef and added this red, I think it was peanut sauce or not, maybe that Chinese sauce of some sort. That stuff's hot. I mean, I'm over
Spicy
here.
Chinese.
Yes, spicy Chinese, and I love it.
hear
It's
you.
fantastic, but it is, it's definitely clearing the sinuses.
Jamie, what do you got?
That makes me
I was
so
just going to
happy.
ask. So, approximately 2020, when COVID hits, I'm thinking, if I'm doing the math right, you have two young teenage boys at the time. How does that whole situation, like someone like you who has, this is your livelihood, and we know how it's, hit the restaurant business at the time. What is your, your thinking going into this? Like, are you starting, is the anxiety hitting? Are you thinking, are you trying, is it like hit your creative part of your brain to kind of think of, how am I going to get through this? What does that situation do to somebody like you?
Yeah, I mean the anxiety was universal. I think you guys probably felt it too. I'm sure in your work lives there was probably a lot of question marks and more questions than answers for sure. And so that part I think was kind of universal anxiety. The other part of it though, man, right off the bat, there was kind of this thought that like I'm responsible for a lot of people and I'm responsible for keeping this thing afloat. And for a minute, it was a pretty heavy weight. That being said, a few things happened that made it better. And so the first one is everybody at all of our stores, dude. I mean, everyone just got together and bonded together, and everyone got tight. And everything that we had to do, we did it. And each of the stores turned on online ordering. I think we had it at one store before March of 2020. And within, I think it was literally a day, we had every store up on online ordering, the managers, the crew, everybody was into it. Everybody jumped in. Same thing with delivery. We weren't really doing much with DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats. And by instantly, I mean, almost literally overnight, maybe 2 nights, we turned it all on. And then you get into the other part, which is difficult, which is the distancing, which is how do you make food 6 feet apart? What do you do? We turned curbside on. Again, everybody was awesome. They leaned into it, and they had their own ideas and better ways that we could do it. And we just all got together and made it happen. And so, we dealt with the face masks, and we dealt with, health department inspections and the 14-point plans and the conference calls with Nick Alika at the health department and, angry customers because we're doing too much, angry customers because we're not doing enough. We just kept trying to find this middle path. But ultimately what happened, and I mean, you guys see this in the modern world, is, some really nice restaurants, some great restaurants closed. And I mean, I guess they had a question. Did they want to try to serve out of a curbside window? Or was the whole part of the point of the restaurant is to have this great table service? So a bunch of them closed, but we never really had, table service, right? We're always kind of to go. You talk about, everyone getting together. You talk about things like the PPP loans and the EITC, which helped tremendously. You get ahead of those. You figure them out. And it's tough for a while. All the rules were tough. All the kind of the new societal rules were tough. But ultimately, look at 2021, 2022, we actually experienced growth. I mean, in 2020, we didn't because, it was tough. But in the years following, we grew. And we just tried to be responsive and give customers what they wanted. And, just try to be reasonable and level-headed and try to figure it out with everybody else.
Yeah, that seems like that's awesome, man. That's an awesome story of like a restaurant because like you said, there were so many horror stories about people with their staff having to let go of people and just having to close in general. So yeah, being a restaurant owner at that time, I did not envy you at all, man. That seems like it was a big hurdle, but congratulations, man. Everything.
Yeah. No, we're
Go ahead. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
we're thankful. I mean, we didn't have to lay anybody off, and we didn't have to lay anyone off, and we had a couple people that were concerned about being out in public, and they left for a little while, and then they came back, and obviously they're welcomed back. But no, it's I don't know, a lot of preparation, probably luck and chance, and just trying to be practical and understanding. I'm like I said, I'm sure in your daily lives as well.
Yeah.
What does your day look like? Like, take us through a typical day in your world. Like, what does tomorrow look like for you? Like, are you jumping between stores, but throughout the day, or just kind of give us an example of what your day's like?
Yeah, daily life. Daily life is evolving. It's good. I love what I do. Um, it's from early on. My first job in the restaurant. So I guess, like I said, for a while I was working my full-time job still, and so I really wasn't all that present. I was a little bit more in the back ends, kind of putting together, just getting organized. And once I did finally come out and work in the restaurant, I spent 3 months working on the line, just every day showing up and being one of the guys expediting and working the cashier. And I mean, it was great. I loved it. It was a perfect kind of break for me from what I had been doing, and kind of just this opportunity to completely leap into this. It wasn't a completely new world, but it kind of was. And so, after that, it's funny because one of the things that, and I'm going to give you the long answer because we all said we had enough time tonight for long answers. But first, coming off, we have a basement in Mission, and the basement in Mission is it's basically the same size as upstairs. It's just a mirror of it downstairs. So we've got like some storage and desks down there. And back in 2014, it was basically me. I was really the only like office person. I had worked in the store a little bit, but I'm not the chef. So and that's not my involvement. My involvement's obviously on the business side because that's my past and my history. But so I would go down to the basement and I'd be down there alone for like 8 hours. And for the first 6 months, man, it was lonely. I would sit down there in the quiet and I'd reach out to old friends and go, what are you guys doing today? And I was working on a bunch of stuff and just building and building and building. But it took some time to get used to that. But so that kind of moves along. And so we spend time, Gilbert didn't really ever measure margins, and he didn't really know the weights of the food or the prices compared to the weights. And we didn't really have like standard operating procedures, and we didn't have, we didn't do RFPs for our and all this kind of standard business stuff didn't exist. So I spent, multiple years working on that kind of stuff at the same time, working on growth, which is always, that in and of itself is like a full-time job for the period that you're opening up the new location. But, we have a guy who is our director of operations named Jeremy, and Jeremy's been with us for 15 years. And so he came up as a district manager. He and I started working side by side over time. I've given him things that I need to hand off, and then I'm pursuing new things. We're bottling our sauces on Amazon now. We've got a partnership with Lucky Elixir, which is a kombucha. They brew a Longboards kombucha that they ship to us. Additional stores come in, so 2 to 3 days a week, and I kind of bounce around the stores and meet with the GMs and just catch up with the crew and make sure everything looks good, introduce maybe some new things we're working on. And then the other 2 or 3 days, I'm in the office, currently working on, we're working on an operations manual, which, isn't very fun or exciting. Rudy, your girls probably don't want to hear anything about the operations manual. They probably love to hear about the Cabo steaks, but the operations manual is like a 6-month project,
Yeah.
It's not sexy. What I do isn't sexy.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
So are all the stores are corporate owned, correct?
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Are all the stores corporate owned?
Yeah.
Do you foresee a time when
Yes.
you'll do some franchising?
So we had a fairly big development a couple of years ago. So Gilbert's wife, Amber, was a nurse at North Kansas City Hospital. And my wife, Miriam, is an attorney, but she was practicing at Pulcinelli. And so 2 years ago, both of them left their jobs and they both now work for Longboards. And so, that's beautiful in a lot of different ways. But one in particular is with Miriam's skill set is she is putting together a pathway for us. And so we've had this ongoing conversation as to whether that pathway is, do we just keep growing organically ourselves, which has been going well? Do we potentially look at franchise, like you said? Is there some other potential pathway? We know we want to grow. We continue to grow. Growing is fun. We're thankful that we're able to grow. How we do it next, a lot of it is going to be based on the work that Miriam is doing now. And we're super lucky to be able to have someone who's a Pulcinelli attorney working full-time for Longboards. It's not supposed to happen that way, but it did.
Cool.
Very nice.
That's awesome. John, now I gotta say I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. I know it's been I want to say a good 10 years maybe that we I think we had caught up. I think we had gotten together for our little grade school kind of reunion. It's been about 10 years. But no, I've been looking forward to catching up and kind of, I figure a lot of those people from there, old classmates would want to kind of get a good idea of, what you've been up to, what you were up to when you left the neighborhood. And so, no, I appreciate you coming on. We didn't even get a chance to really get into the T-ball days. You remember playing T-ball? I think your dad, Dennis, coached us there for a little while, didn't he? I think he.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard Anthony, when you guys were talking to Anthony about those white jeans. Even as like a first and second grader, I didn't get it. Like, why am I wearing jeans when I'm playing baseball?
Exactly.
But they were white.
All the baseball players
nobody on any baseball card ever had jeans on.
Mom told me why we went with white pants, and now I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember, but I'm sure it was just I think it was just probably the cheapest way to go. I think maybe I don't know.
Cheaper than buying baseball pants, probably. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
but
well, I got a question before we leave, John. Do you? Because I've done this with my boys. Have you ever taken your boys down?
Maybe. But...
Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, go ahead and finish. What were you going to say?
Bob, you broke up a little bit.
Have you taken your boys down to Northeast?
No, I didn't catch that. You broke up a little bit.
Yeah. Have you ever taken your boys to the old Northeast area?
Many times.
What's their reaction?
Yes. They like it.
Really?
We've actually gone to Holy Cross a few times. We used to go every summer to Holy Cross, and we'd go to the playground in the summertime. And depending on their age, we might bring like a bike or something for them. But we'd always bring like a kickball and hit the wall. Why wouldn't you do that?
Wow.
You got to hit the wall. And I try to explain to them, how we played soccer with our hands. They don't get that.
Yes, you can either sock it,
But they
or you
like it, man. They
That's
Yep.
great. That's great.
Awesome. Well, John, like I said, it's been a nice trip down memory lane. I'm glad to hear that things are going well with you. Man, I don't know. You
For
boys
sure.
have anything else to say? Hey, we still need to give away our.
Nah, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do
We don't
that.
need to do that? We're good.
Nah, we can do it tomorrow.
I
It's not.
I just want to thank John for taking some time. I know this isn't the most convenient time to record a podcast, but
Or eat a sandwich.
or eat a sandwich. But you know,
Right.
he didn't have to eat. We
it
ate.
works, man. It's good.
Yeah, no, John, I want to thank you for coming
Yeah, a little
on.
late for dinner.
But I want to thank you for coming on. And yeah, like I said, my kids were excited that we were going to have the guy from Longboards on. My buddies from old Waddell and Reed, where I used to work, they were excited about it. Like I said, I've been enjoying it for years,
Yes.
and so yeah. So thank you for coming on, man. I did take it upon myself today. I made sure I was following Longboards on all the social medias, and in fact, I think I even started following Gilbert on everything. Do you have much of a social media
Yeah.
presence yourself? Because I don't see you out there at all.
You know, I've every now and then you'll see something from me on Facebook. I'm under Longboards KC. And then if you follow Twitter or X, I'll post to that occasionally. That's usually me.
Okay, sounds good, man. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. We worked through the audio issues that we started out with, and we'll make it work. I think it sounds good, and man, it's good to see you, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right,
John.
Bob.
Awesome.
You want to take us out of here?
Yep, I forgot it was
Yes.
my turn.
Thank you, guys. Good to see everybody.
My turn to take us out. So for my brothers Jamie and my brother Rudy, and for our guest John, until next time, just quit acting stupid.